Hello, my name is Lana. Imagine a situation. You are running for half an hour, and when you stop, instead of breathing like a normal person, you only have a straw to breathe through. How would you feel? And more importantly, why would you limit yourself like this? I have an answer. This is what asthma patients face every day of their life. Asthma doesn't seem like anything deadly horrible or limiting. From the outside, it may seem that if you carry an inhaler, you can do anything you like as usual. And when you start having problems, just a quick spray and it will pass. But this is a thing that limits you a lot in your daily life. It decides for you what you should do, where you should go, and how you plan your time. And then there are some truly horror stories about asthma, like, for example, that moment when you forget your inhaler. This is what once happened to me. Just a bit of story on how this thing happened to me. My parents adore animals, and we've always had our home full of cats. When I was 10, we moved to a new house, of course bringing cats along. Then my mom decided to put the carpeting all around the house, and they were painting the house. This is like a mega combo for asthma. I noticed that I didn't manage to breathe normally while I was home. It seemed that someone put a stone on my chest, so I had to come out of the house from time to take a breath of fresh air. And then I couldn't sleep. I started coughing and was literally spitting my lungs out. That was when I got diagnosed with asthma. This is a hard thing. You can live with it. But when you are small, you actually don't realize that it is something above constant usage of medicines. I didn't care much. Apart from the constant necessity of catching my breath, and the fact that I had to give up active sports, that I didn't enjoy too much anyway, I didn't notice many changes in my daily life. Of course, you never notice the act of breathing. And when you are asthmatic, you sometimes need to struggle for every breath. But as far as you can't change anything, you need to just accept it and move on. I started understanding that this is not just use your meds. When another patient of my doctor, a boy of my age, nearly died of an asthma attack. He had his inhaler with him, but the closure was so strong that it didn't help. It was thanks to the ambulance who came very quickly and managed to save him on time. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much hope for him. I had never asked myself before, what happens if your inhaler doesn't work? I mean, why wouldn't it? This is the first time when I had an idea that maybe my disease is more dangerous than it seems. But I was still careless. You know, when you're in your early teens, you have many more interesting things to think about than always checking that your inhaler is with you, or looking up some alternative ways of treating an asthma attack just in case something goes wrong. You just are sure that everything will be alright with you wherever you go and whatever you do. Nice try, Lana. Life can always find its own way to teach you a lesson. We once went trekking with my parents. They are big fans of it, and they decided to take me with them for the first time. We found some remote route, pretty far from everything, but it wasn't very complicated so that I would not have problems with catching my breath. We went there by car and were supposed to have an overnight in the woods. I was collecting everything, all the things that I would need, and also my asthma kit in a small black bag. I put it in the kitchen and later noticed that my dad was bringing my bag into the car, so I considered it done and forgot about it. When we arrived, I was delighted by fresh air, beautiful nature, birds singing, and all the good things about trekking. We took our backpacks and set off along our route. We were chatting and laughing, going inside the forest, and I literally forgot about everything. I enjoyed myself. After 2 or 3 hours, we made a stop just to have a rest. I saw a beautiful flower on the ground and decided to smell it. The smell was very strong, and I understood at once that I had made a mistake. I felt my airways closing and quickly reached for my asthma bag. And it wasn't there. I mean, it was Mom's bag with her medicines and creams that was identical to mine. Turned out it was the one that Dad had brought from the kitchen, and mine remained on the kitchen table back home. I started panicking, and it got even harder to breathe. I was coughing the air out and couldn't even inhale to get it back. My parents didn't understand what was going on at first, but when they did, they were panicking as well. Mom started looking for an inhaler, and I failed to explain to her that I didn't have it with me. I didn't understand that I had to sit down, calm down, try to take a breath, and find some position where I could feel at least a bit of relief. I was just running around like a headless chicken. At some point, I understood that that's it. Goodbye, cruel world. I am dying. Mom and Dad were trying to help me somehow. Find some old inhaler maybe, or take me in their hands. But what could they do so far from civilization? At some point, I was exhausted of running around, and I was suffocating. My head was spinning. So I just lay down on the ground. I thought to myself, dear God, if you hear me, please let me live. If you help me, I will be more attentive to take my inhaler with me any time. Well, this sounds pretty lame, but at that very moment I felt that my airway opened just a bit, and I could take a small breath. I was saved! A miracle, you would say. Well, maybe, or just the fact that I stopped running and lay myself down, that for me strangely was the position that gave me relief. But that day, I understood that it's me who must take care of myself, not someone else. And it's my responsibility to check my inhaler, and that I really can die. And after this case, my parents dedicate themselves to reminding me about it just in case I try to forget it. We turned back, and now I am sure that next time I'm going trekking, I will bring a 2-month stock of inhalers with me, just in case. I think we should raise awareness about asthma. Share this video with your friends, and also leave a comment if you know some other stories of people who forgot their inhalers at home.